Hey Collective, it's Ron over at Becoming Enlightened Together. I have yet another reading for you, and this one just happens to be more of a positive one that doesn't seem to be really mentioning the karmics for a change. So, for the very first time in quite some time, or at least since I've been back, the karmics have not taken over the reading. So, let's go ahead and look at that. It looks like it's relatively positive all the way around. We have almost, well, I have 5 out of the 6 energies in the upright, and the one that is in the reversal is not negative. So, very, very good. All right, so of course, let's start off with the overall weekly, and this will be until the end of Saturday. So, this is Yera in the upright, and Yera in the upright basically is stands for year, harvest, and the fruits of your labor being made available to you or manifested, in other words. So whatever seeds you have sown or planted are about to be, you're about to reap your rewards, basically. Long story short. I have these brain farts sometimes, so there's a lot going on in my mind, and I apologize. But anyways, it also talks about legalities and rewards. Talks about, in other words, if you are having any type of a legal dispute, it looks like you are going to be victorious, whatever it may be. Okay, so it also talks about peace and commitments. Talks about breakthroughs and stagnation if you've been, in a stagnant, state. Talks about happiness and promises of success, both earned or won. Whether you're winning a lotto thing or you're actually you've earned through hard work and effort and everything else, a promotion or whatever the case may be, you're being recognized. But it also tells us that basically everything does change, but in its own time. It's rarely, as fast as we would like those types of things to manifest in our lives. And again, that's something I grapple with quite a bit too. I mean, everything has been going at a snail's pace for me specifically, and I'm generally pretty good at manifesting. But in terms of the big things right now, there's lessons to be learned, and that probably applies for somebody else that's out there listening right now too. So just be patient; it will come. Now, the past energy is Gibo, and Gibo is like X marks a spot on a treasure map, so to speak. And this one is in the upright, so it's a positive room. So it talks about all manner of gifts, gifting, reciprocity is really what it represents, I think. And if I was to give it a single word, it talks about balance. And that talks about in relationships as well as material goods and so on and so forth. So if you're looking for a love, it talks about that, talks about divine unions, partnerships, and all manner of exchanges, including contracts. So again, if you're having some form of legalities, you are going to be successful. But as always, make sure you look at the small print, and remember now, we still have our parts to play in all of these things, and every decision we still have to make them. So, you know, even though these things are basically promised to you, and what's yours will always find you. Just don't get too lackadaisical because of that understanding. And I know, again, if you're really, really hardcore spiritual and everything else, when you hear things like that, it kind of takes the burden off your shoulders, and that's good. That it should. But on the other side of that, it may make us a little bit lackadaisical, and then open for deception and things of that nature. So be always aware, self-aware. Now, our present energy is the Goddess Freya's rune. This is Fehu. Yeah, it's not focusing in so good today. But it looks like a broken F in a sense. Okay? And Freya, of course, the goddess of abundance, fertility, magic. So anything dealing with materialistic wealth of any kind is basically under this, because this is in the upright. So wealth, fulfillment, power, material gain, possessions won or earned. Yet again, we see that twice now. Your income advancing, luck, financial strength in the present or near future. So if you don't already have it, it's coming. Okay. The hope of plenty and success, foresight, fertility, and both creation and destruction. But don't let that last part, scare you or anything like that. It just talks about sometimes in order to have a creation, first the old has to crumble away. Okay. It's well known in all philosophical, renderings. Doesn't matter what culture we're looking at. All right, now I haven't really gone into the magic for today because some of these things we've been seeing quite repetitively. But in magic for Fehu, it talks about increasing your productivity and abundance, and you want to keep it or write it. Basically, keep it in your wallet, your purse, anywhere that you actually keep and store your materialistic wealth. Okay, so. All right, now in terms of our challenges, what we have again is manas, and manas is basically it means humanity, friends, enemies, people, the self, altruism, creative attitudes towards others and theirs towards you. Social order, intelligence, forethought, creative skills and abilities, and divine structure and awareness. Okay, but it also reminds us to expect some form of aid and comfort in the near future. So again, that could be in the sense of materialism that we saw with Fehu and the promise of Ogibo and Yera, or it could be from a person. Perhaps, again, with Fehu and so on, it talks about, partnerships and divine unions. Maybe you're waiting for your significant other to come in. If that's the case, it's telling us that that's probably going to happen very soon. Okay, so now in magic, it tells us basically to cultivate more of your own potential with this particular rune. Okay, you invoke it basically when you're trying to manifest something more of yourself. You want to be a better singer, you want to be a better musician or artist, you want to be better at the job that you're doing, or a better parent, or whatever the case may be. You can use manas to manifest that. Now, in terms of our help and advice, we have Ewas. Now, Ewas is in the reverse. It's the only one we have in reverse, but it's not a negative rune in the reverse. It just talks about how our journey is a long journey, or has been a long journey. For me personally, that's absolutely facts. I presume somebody else out there is feeling the same way. But it also talks about sudden changes. So this is going to change, and when it does, it's probably going to come out of the blue, and it's going to take you by surprise, and nothing wrong with that. Good surprises are very, very, very welcome, at least in my life. So perhaps you are also craving a change. It talks of that. Feeling restless or maybe confined in a situation currently. It also talks about, unfortunately, things such as mistrust and betrayal. Because of betrayal in your past, you may have a strong sense of mistrust of others at this point. And that can be healthy to a certain degree. But just keep the door open, if you will, for people who don't mean you harm, potentially, so that you don't annex somebody unnecessarily out of your life who only wanted, what was best for you. And for themselves, of course, I'm sure too, but not everybody's out to get you. And it's easy to become paranoid when you've had, as far as you can remember, a long string of people who have betrayed you, even those who were closest to you and everything else. And again, I can understand and totally relate to that. But you know what? In the end, it's you in spirit. So whatever they do, just, has no effect on me. None. Okay? And hopefully you have that same mindset so you can march forward in victory and everything else, no matter what obstacle comes before you. Now, finally, the outcome and the future, we have Perthro. And again, it too is in the upright. So it talks about, things such as chance, games of chance, games, gaming, dice cup. That's really what it stands for. It talks about destiny, and it also talks about mystery. So the divine feminine is part of this, and of course, some of the physical attributes of a woman, her vagina, things of that nature, because they're looked at as being mysterious, especially back in in the day and everything else. So secrets, sexuality, vagina again, initiations, secret matters in general, the occult, including the underworld, knowledge of one's destiny, knowledge of future, fortune, determining the future of one's path, and fertility, since we're talking about the divine feminine and all things feminine for that matter, feminine mysteries in general. It also talks about fellowship and joy. Okay, so again, very, very, very positive for the collective out there. Now, in magic, it's used to increase your connection with the unseen world itself. Okay, use it in conjunction with Lagos to increase your psychic powers. Used to increase your luck or to appeal to the Norns, which are the equivalent of the Fates in Greek and Roman mythology, who weave the destiny of all men, and for that matter, I believe the gods as well. But you can petition them to change or reweave your fate if things are not going in a way that is, pleasing unto you. You may or may not get that request, depending on what it is. I mean, sometimes these things happen to us so that we have, the ability to learn a lesson, self-reflection, and see where, we can change in certain ways. And sometimes that's the only way that some of us are going to change, to have to go through some type of obstacle or challenge. So not all obstacles or, challenges are bad, of course. All right. So, and that's it. Short and sweet. It was a very, very positive, reading for the collective. So, makes me happy. I could always use good news, and I'm sure the rest of the collective can as well. So, very short and very positive reading for the collective. So, as always, I wish you all victory. And much, much, much further down the line, perhaps I'll see you all in Valhalla. All right.